recording. All right. Before we proceed, I want to bring to your attention to not overlook something which I noticed only after last class. It's in section 5, 10 and 11 line. It's basically, effectively, I think, it's something that can be taken as a definition of enosis. Remember, we were raising the question what enosis is about, and it's a technical term. So, and it's an interesting construction. You see, enosis. Do you see what I'm pointing? Enosis as iti epivolas, iti paradoxas χρυφάνα την hyperagnostu ke hyperphanous agathotitos. So basically, this is a double signification of this genitive tis hyperagnostu agathotitos ke hyperagnostu ke hyperphanous. Do you see why it's double? Double signification. Genitive, as you know, among other functions, it can be genitive of an object and genitive of a subject. So, do you see how this works in this case? So I'm claiming it's both here with I'm just wondering, do you see this?
So it's the angel-like enosis, which it is necessary to show
no, χρυφάνα is one must say, one must call them. It's from for me. That's not essential, but so let's recap this genitive. Why is it genitive? Case the last part of the phrase, beginning with tis or tes.
It goes with the paradoxes, the receptions of the beyond.
Right, but also with epivolas, right?
And the outshooting and receptions.
Yes. And do you see that with one of them, it functions as the genitive of the subject, and with the other, the genitive of the object?
Is it a peculiar word ordering then that he would have?
Well, it's normal in Attic Greek and later Greek also, which continues this tradition. It's so-called vrachologia. It's to say concisely. In other words, to pack, to use as little words, as little means as possible to say as much as possible. And often it works by means of some expressions wearing, so to say, double two hats at once, right? To use the English idiom. So do you see that this typeragnos to agathoritos, it's with this two, with one of them, it's the genitive of the object, and with the other is the genitive of the subject. So can you tell which is which? Well,
I guess would the epibolas be the hyperphanous?
With the epivolas, this agathoritos is the genitive of the object or of the subject?
Oh, yeah, that would be the subjective genitive with epibolas and the objective.
Right, exactly. So, and here this interesting, in my view, the implicit definition of the enosis. So what this author means by enosis or henosis, it's either in the sense, not there are two different meanings of enosis, but there are two aspects to it. And one aspect is from the they both aspects expressed by a construction with the genitive, but one aspect, it's applications of agathoditos as an actor, and the other aspect is reception of agathoditos as object of something received. The actor or passive actor being the one, a deified human, a human being which is being unified. So it's and here we see also clearly that by unification, enosis, what is meant is some union between a human being and this transcendent divinity, right? Okay. So now we continue where we're. So the last person, Adam, were it you who were the last reading last time, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's how I remember. And I think this is where we stopped at the beginning of sentence 4. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so then, Cole, would you continue from here?
Certainly. Tin menun hyperis usiotita tin thiarchikin, hoti pote estin itis hyperagathoditos hyperiparxis, uteos logon idinamin, uteos nun izoin iusian imnise. Imnise temiton udeniton ossoi, tis hyperpassan alitias isin eraste. Alos passis exeos, kinesios, zois, fantasias, doxes, onomatos, logu, dianias, noisios, usias, staseos, idriseos, enoseos, peratos, apirias, apantonosa ontaistin, hyper ochikos affirimenin. Okay. Indeed, then, with regard to the supersubstantial Godhead, as to what hyperiparxis is obviously not in the lexicon. I guess it's like, I looked it up in Lampa. It means like coming into being. So
you mean hyparxis, not hyperiparxis.
hyparxis, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but he also has hyperiparxis, existence which is beyond existence.
Right. So
and just a note, you see, hyparxis, it's good to translate it as existence to distinguish it from being. And some Neoplatonists are consistent, and while they deny to the one, the highest reality, so to speak, any being, right? Because it's beyond being, but they still attribute hyparxis to it.
So meaning that he's saying that whatever he's talking about is beyond even that thing that they are talking about.
Right. If we take him at face value, right. Although I'm not sure he's that precise, because sometimes we'll see further that this author is not quite meticulous in his use of these terms, distinguishing between eparxis and yeah. But okay.
Okay. So as to what the beyond being of the beyond goodness may be,
Mhm.
it is not it's not permissible for them to praise it either as word or as power, nor as mind or life or being.
But now, because you said it's not permissible to them.
Right, namely
Mhm.
to those who
to know one of
sorry, yeah,
the
to
need
no
one.
one of to none of those who are lovers of the truth beyond all truth,
Mhm.
but as passes hexios, as having all.
No, hexis is a noun.
Oh.
I think with the rest of the phrase, one needs to kind of construe imnise as implicit.
Okay, right, yeah. So, but rather as one having all movement, life, image, opinion, name, word.
No, you took axios as having.
Yes.
No, well, no, axis is well, let's see, it can mean habit, but it has a broader meaning of yeah, well, I see where you're coming from. The first meaning having been in possession, but being in a certain state of habit or body, uh, well, and it's more appropriate here to look into lamp, and he gives state. Well, state would be a good good translation here. It's very general, of course, state, but as opposed in this context to motion, which is a change, right? But
Okay.
yeah, so passes hexos. It's you will need. Basically, it all goes with afirimenin, right? That's
Yes.
why the genitive, and axios is a genitive, one of the the first in this line of genitives.
Okay. Okay. So then I'll start from the end, and then
Mm.
so as transcendently removed from or separated from all stability, can we say, for hexios?
Yes, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. State, yeah. State would be better. Stability would be to kind of to narrow down to.
Okay.
Mhm.
From all state, from all movement, life, image, opinion, name, word, reasoning, intellection, being. Then okay. Well, if we say how do we do from
Stasis,
place?
yeah, stasis would be here would be right. It makes but rest, yes,
Okay.
rest, right? State and rest is not quite exactly the same, because but although both can be opposed to motion, but in somewhat different sense.
Okay. So rest, from all rest, foundation, oneness, limit, unlimitedness, from each insofar as it is,
They are, or they are.
insofar as they all are. Yeah.
Right.
Neuter plural. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. Okay. Any question about that? If not, then Adam, please.
Επέide dehos agatatitas hyparxis, autoto enai panton esti to non to naitia ten agatharkicem tes derkias onoian ec panton, ton naitia ton hymnetian. Epe kai periautein panta, kai autes heneca, kai aute esti propanton, kai tapanta en aute synestica. Since, as it is the reality of goodness,
Existence of goodness.
mhm, existing for itself, by existing for itself.
Well, this is a technical expression which perhaps needs
by
to
its
be.
very existence.
Yeah, by its very being. Here, that's the case which I mentioned before, that he is not quite consistent because he uses inner obviously as synonymous with hyparxis, which and he repeated several times that it is beyond being. Now he says by its very being, which is somewhat inconsistent, but stylistically one can understand it. But it's a technical expression which you can find in Proclus, for instance. It's proposition, I think 122 in the Elements of Theology by Proclus, for instance, where the so-called, which we now call emanationist concept of creation is elaborated, and integral to that concept is the idea that the higher levels produce the lower levels of reality, not by acts of will, but by their very existence. So then they're not interested in, they have no interest in this. They just, that's how they are. Like the sun cannot, for the sun to shine, it's part of its nature. It's not that it does by an act of will, which it can choose to do or to choose not to do. So by its very being. Yes. Okay.
It is the cause of all beings. One must hymn or praise the it's hard to translate that word, like agatharchic providence, or the good foundational providence or something like that.
That's a good question, how to better. I mean, the meaning is kind of clear intuitively, but that's let's see what Lampe gives. It's even not, of course, not canonical respects, not an LJ. Agatharchikos being the source or principle of goodness. So how to now construe it here? The providence of the Godhead, Here's Pronian, which is the principle of all goodness, probably a relative clause is the only option in English, as far as I can see.
Right. And I noticed also Thearchia it only appears in the German dictionary citing Dionysius as die höchste Gottheit, like the highest godhead, I guess.
Yeah, as I said, Lila translates it as Thearchia as Godhead, because archi, remember we discussed it, archi is the beginning, which is another word for, well, head. That.
So is that an oblique way of referring to the thing that's beyond being that you can't properly speak of, or is it?
Yes, it's one of his name, and one of his, he has, I would call them pointers to this level, the ultimate, I would say the ultimate, something ultimate, which cannot be named, but can be pointed, and he uses different pointers to it. And one of the most prominent coined by him, by this author, it's first time that appears, it's Thearchia, which Gottheit or Gottheit, not quite, Godhead. Godheit in German is, I don't know, maybe it's cognate of English head.
I think
but,
so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But in German, it's a regular, it became a suffix for abstract noun, like any, but head in English, I'm not sure if it can be considered already a suffix, so it's more prominent. So its semantics is more prominent. So Godhead, they are here. So that's one of this author's major pointers, most prominent pointers to this ultimate reality.
But just a tangent, I'm looking in the etymological dictionary. The English word head is cognate with also the English noun suffix hood, like godhood.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes, and hood is definitely the same as height, German height. Yeah, good.
So it must be hymned. Or one must hymn or praise the providence of the Godhead, which is the principle of all goodness, from all of the things caused.
Right. Well, yes, and now to make it completely clear, so the principle of all goodness, it modifies or qualifies Pronian, not Thearchias.
Right.
So which makes it give us a precision, so to speak. So Thearchia is beyond everything, but Pronian, providence, is it's so there's archi, which is part of both words, agatharchikin и thearchias, but this archi in agatharchikin is kind of lower level. It's archi which kind of derived from the highest archi, which is Godhead. Okay.
Since also all things are around it for the sake of it, I guess you have to supply st in those.
Yes.
Right? And it is before all things, and it stands around all, or I guess circumscribes all things inside of itself.
Right. Synestic, more precisely, set together, combine. So there's a transitive meaning and intransitive meaning. And I think here it's intransitive meaning, stand together. Yeah, stand together. Oh, right. Be associated with quite a few meanings even in Lampe. Yeah, but Yeah, but basically that's intuitively it's clear. All right, call please.
Ke to ine tautin I tonolon paragogi ke hypostasis ke autis panta epiete tamen noera ke logica gnostikos tade hyphimena tufton aesthetikos ke ta alla kata zotikin kinisin I usiothi ke ektikin diotita.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and to it, shoot. Well, I don't know what the Tauftin there is referring to.
Yes, yes, and this can be taken in two ways, at least that I can see. Adam, do you have, oh, both of you? I want first to see how you possibly take it.
My guess was the pronoia, which seemed to be the main subject of the most recent sentence. Well, it's, I guess,
Okay.
like in the prior clause, like, is the aute, is that the pronoia or the thearchia? It seems like it has to be the pronoia, I guess, semantically.
Yes. That's probably that's the best way to take it. So basically, as did I hear correctly that you take it as articular infinitive with the subject, Taftin being the subject? Yes, Adam. Okay, to ina Taftin, so Taftin is a subject in accusative of this articular
Oh, no, I
infinitive.
think I'd assume that was the direct object of Ephiatai. All things desire it.
Oh, I see.
I don't,
Well, but a theater requires the object in
oh,
the
right.
genitive, which we have here, aftis. Aftis pande theater, it's the object. Yes, that's so. We need to construe Taftin somehow. Cole, do you
Yeah,
have?
I think what you said, Arcady, makes sense to me. But I don't know what the second meaning that you have in mind could be.
Well, so again, first meaning, first option, take, well, in any event, toina, well, first, quite simply, toina Taftin, I take it, if we go along this line, then that would be instrumental dative, and this will be Taftin by in virtue of or by way of it being in existence. Taftin pronia, providence.
I'm confused why it would be accusative in that case, though.
Oh, because well, infinitive with infinitive in articular infinitive, this construction requires the subject of the verb, which is
Oh, yeah.
put in the infinitive, should be in the accusative.
Oh,
Yes, you cannot have a nominative with infinitive. You know, if it were a nominative, then it should be a finite verb, right?
Mhm.
But in this case, well, okay, and then on this reading, there would be implied estin here. So by virtue of being of it being there, I would say in English probably that would be the way to put it. But by way of it, namely providence being there, and then there would be implied estin, there is production of, well, however, well, I don't want to take away from cold translating this part. Well, okay, that's one way to take it. But what a little bit makes me a little bit not happy with this, why it's taftin rather than aftin, because here it's aftis. You see why I think it would be more natural to refer to pronia with that more with that pronoun, especially as it's used right after that, aftis,
Yeah.
pande feet, not taftis, you know. So that's a little bit weird. So another way to take it, I think, would be to take it adverbially, and then it would be in virtue of implied it's, namely, then it's being in this way, then it would be, I would say, even it is, pronia is paragogy ke hypostasis ton olon. So then well, regardless of, one may take the second part just as on the previous reading, but I think for the first part, I think taftin can be taken as more, it would be more natural to construe it, I think, as adverbially in this way. Then it's feminine because hodos is feminine, implied. It's anyway. It's quite a usual. I mean, tough to say tough to mean in this way. It's well known meaning. Anyway, but these are two options.
Mm. Okay. Well, going with the second one then.
Yeah.
In virtue of its being in this way, it is the production and the underlying reality, the substance.
Yeah, the substance. Yeah.
The substance of all things. And all things seek it out.
Yes.
And those the intellectual and logical ones in a knowledgeable way.
Not knowledgeable, but yes,
Yeah, kind of
in a knowing way, by
Okay.
way of knowing.
So intellectual and logical ones by way of knowing, and the ones having been lowered down of them in a sensible way, and others according to the movement of life, or according to life movement, whatever that means exactly. Or essential.
Yeah, this is hektikin is difficult to translate, but we can.
Sustaining, habitual.
Yeah, sustaining, very good. Yes, which makes them something constant. Yes. the Lampe says, tenacious, yeah, Lampe doesn't really give good things, but sustaining cause, yes, yes, that's a Stoic technical term, hectikia etia, sustaining causes. Yeah.
Okay, and so just going back a little bit, and others according to living motion, or a sustaining, or their essence, or a sustaining, or a
Essential,
fitting
essential,
sustain,
usiosi, it's adjective, right?
right, or an essential or suitable habitual sustaining cause.
Yeah, aptitude, epithethiotita, I think aptitude would be a good
Okay.
translation. So how do I think let's what's the word? Double check so we understand it. So I think it's pretty clear, but let's how call what would this mean? What kind of beings these are, which are
Yeah, I think noera que logica, it must refer to minds, so angels or human beings.
yes, exactly.
And that which is lower than them would be animals, sensibly.
Yes.
And everything else is everything else. So it must seek it or desire it in a manner suitable or fitting to its nature or its essence.
Yeah, but what's the difference between the last two, katazotikin kinisin? I don't think it's this or is kind of it's not or in the sense namely. It's or in the sense of there are
Two things, yeah.
two different
Okay,
class.
well, if it's not an animal and it's not a person and it's not an angel, but it's alive, it must be a plant, I suppose.
Exactly, a plant. And the last one is inanimate.
Right.
And of course, that's striking. I find it striking and interesting, to say the least, that, well, one can say, one can imagine how plants are a, a theater, kind of, they strive
Yeah.
for it, like a sunflower turns to the
Yeah,
sun.
yeah, yeah.
But that stones, for instance, they also somehow a theater of this by way of not just not what would be the word if they turn into sand like a stone. What's the word? Not dissolve, but this
Disintegrate.
yeah, exactly, disintegrate. So exactly. So and actually that's a very good well, if hectikin, like you know, keeping it as a whole, keeping it together, right? So by not disintegrating, in other words, it implies that staying what's to keep itself from disintegrating is already some it's an indicator that it is some striving.
Hmm.
What we take well, perhaps like naively as just a state of being, it's actually some taken by this author and by this tradition as some, roughly speaking, effort or some striving towards the cause, the origin. some kind of imitation on the lowest level of the origin. All right. Adam, please.
Tuta kun edates voie theologoi kai hos anonymon autein hymnusi kai pantos anamatos anonymon men hos hatan passitein dearchian autenen mia ton mysticon tis symbolices theopaneas oration epiplexae to pesanti tito anima su. Therefore, since they knew this, the theologians, they both praise it as nameless and from every name.
And yes, from every, based, I'm not sure how to put it in better English. Yeah, praise it, drawing on every name.
Mhm. Nameless on the one hand, as when they say that the Godhead itself, in one of the I guess mystical visions of the symbolic appearance of the god or something like
Yeah,
that.
theophany is English, I
So,
think.
it chastised the person saying, "What is your name?"
Yeah, you know, of course, which episode it refers to.
I'm afraid I don't recall.
Well, Cole, you should.
Exodus 3.
Well, that's one possibility, but not the only one, and probably not the right one,
Oh,
given with what follows. And let's look up. Well, apparatus sometimes help. Actually, Zuchla's apparatus is in many ways better, but not to spend time on opening that file. Do you see what he says? It's line 3. Yeah, you see here, actually, there's also Jude, I think it's epistle, but yes, but first he mentioned Genesis
right. The
32:20.
angel wrestling with the angel.
Yes, exactly. And it's more, and this seems to be the right one given the continuation,
Hmm.
So in Exodus, was he talking to Moses, to the burning bush, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so it falls under the category of symbolic symbolicist Theophanes also. What does he mean by symbolicist? It means that I think that the divinity appeared uh, as uh, as some figure uh, like in Genesis, that's like a human being, even with whom he struggled, Jacob, right? Um, that's why it's symbolic. I think that's so it's interesting construction actually. Uh, uh, mi mystikon. How did you translate mystikon, Adam?
I said mystical, so I guess I didn't really translate it.
Right, mystical actually. They people until very late, until maybe 17th century, they didn't know such concept. So, what is to be mystical? I mean, let's see, what are the meaning? Uh, again, emphasis. Not easily accessible, secret, esoteric, mysterious, maybe a good one. Possessing, or I think possessing or conveying a hidden meaning or reality. That's well, of course, difficult. I mean,
The third reference is to the book of Judges. Um, when the wife of Manoah conceives Samson. And
Oh,
Manoah speaks to the angel and says, "What is your name? So that when your words come true, we may honor you." And the angel replies, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" So
oh, so maybe that's the
that could
most
be the
proper one.
reference as well.
Yes, I'm judging actually by the answer. So when I said that Exodus passage is not quite fitting, because as far as I recall, there the answer was not that
Right.
the name is wonderful. And now in Genesis, I think it was right that it's wonderful, or not. Anyway, if you don't remember, we can double check later. But good, thank you for the reminding this. Yes, that's most. So anyway, so mystikon means having the visions, having hidden the visions of symbolic theophany, which have hidden meaning, right? So of course, I think symbolic already implies it has a hidden meaning, but maybe let's see what symbolic key, what the meanings are in Lampus's. Well, it's symbolic, although not great help. Yeah, figurative, right? Okay, right, symbolic in this sense. So it may be apparently it may be figurative, but the meaning can be plain. But it also can be figurative, so that the meaning is not is hidden. So he refers it in this way. All right. So Paul, please continue.
Και hosper apopasis αυτον διονύμικης γνώσεως απάγουσαν φανέκε, χίνα τη έρωτας όνομα μου, και τούτο έστι ταυμαστον. Η ούχη τούτο όντως έστι το ταυμαστον όνομα, το hyperpan όνομα, το ανώνυμον, το πάντως hyperidrimenon, ονόματος ονομαζόμενο, είτε εν το ιόνι τούτο, ite ento melundi. So, and he replied, as though leading him away from every knowledge of the divine name, and said, for what reason do you ask my name? And it is marvelous.
Okay, now I should tell you that there's
Yes.
a typo here, because
Okay.
otherwise it's clearly a typo, because I double checked his translation, Lilas, the editor, and he has a question mark here, which is correct, and so
Yeah.
and there should be a semicolon, not a colon. So that's a question, basically.
Right. Okay. So is not this being is this not the marvelous name?
Ontos.
Yeah. So being, is this not being the marvelous name?
No, well, it's adverb. It's
Beingly.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Is this not truly?
Yes, really,
Okay.
really. I think really.
Yes. Okay. Is this not really the marvelous name? That above all names, the nameless, the super foundational of all.
Well, sitting idrimenon, like being idrimenon, what would be good English? Being
Situated,
Seated.
yeah,
situated,
being seated. Yeah, being seated above every name. Yeah.
Right. The one seated, the one seated of all names of names, either
No,
in
no, not. This is onomatos onomazomenu. That's a quotation from St. Paul, I think.
yeah.
And I don't know. I know how it's translated in Russian and Slavonic, but not. I don't know how they translate omanozomenu in
The name
English.
above every other name.
Oh, so they kind of they didn't translate, they didn't render the verbal aspect, because that's of course it's a participle. Onomazomenu, it's not the one being named above every name, right? But here he reshaped it. Well, in St. Paul, it's the one being named. In Paul, it's pandos onomatos onomazomenu. So pandos, and here it's given a new twist. You see, so it's being seated above every name which is named.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact what would be. I think, as far as I remember, in Paul, it's just it is. I forgot what he exactly says, Paul, but clearly, if it is Remenon, it's out of quotation marks, so it's kind of his own twist on this.
Okay, so the one established above all names of what is named,
Yes,
either in this age or in that which is to come.
yes, great, great. And also, I think this kind of question, I u he, really, is it not? Did you translate this way? Because
Yes.
okay, good. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
And is it not truly a marvelous name, that name,
Right,
which
yeah,
namely,
yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
It's a rhetorical question. Yeah. Okay, Adam, please.
Poluonomon de hos hatan autos auten isagusi pascusan ego emi haon his doe topos hoteos he alitea. On the other hand, it's many named, as when again, I guess bringing it in.
Or introducing,
Oh,
they
introducing.
introduce,
Okay,
yes.
they
And
introduce it saying.
office at other time,
Mhm.
they introduce. Mhm.
Oh, okay. So at other times, they introduce it saying, "I am which it is, the life, the light, God, the truth."
Okay, do you want to read a little more? It's a bit
Oh, sure.
short.
Kai hoton autoi ton panton aition voi theosophoi polonumos ek panton ton aitiaton hymnusin hos agaton hos kalon hos sopon hos agapeton hos theon hos kurion hos agion hos ionion hos onta hos ionon aition hos stois corregon hos sopion hos nun hos logon hos gnoston hos praeconta pantas tus thesaurus apaces gnosios hos dunamin hos dynastin hos basileon ton hos palaion hemeron hos agero kai alaioton hos soterion hos dikaiasunen hos agiasmon hos apolutrosin hos in megate panton hupere conta Hos in aura lepte.
Mhm.
Um, and when they uh the or the same I guess now he calls them theosophists instead of
No,
theo,
Theosophy.
yeah,
Okay.
which is I guess there's the modern theosophists, which is something totally different, but
Right, right,
um,
yes.
I guess they're wise about God, the people.
Yeah, the wise, yeah, the God wise, yeah.
When they the same God wise folks they praise the cause of all things.
Where do you see the same
Oh, Altoi.
after they,
Oh yeah, they. Okay.
and
Um.
then goes the oh sorry no after uh, yeah, I think it's a bit strange. It's a little bit far but off stance, but after the very it would be the same if after were between the
Mhm,
article and theosophy.
mhm.
E after theosophy, the same God-wise people. But in this construction, predicative, it means the very uh,
Mhm.
or themselves, the good wise people themselves.
Oh, they praise the cause of all things with many names from all the things that are caused, I guess, by it, assuming
Mm-hmm.
um as good, as beautiful, as wise, as lovable, as a God of gods, as a Lord of lords, as a holy um of holies, I guess.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Uh, was yes.
Holy of holies, as eternal, as existing, as a cause of the eternities, as the director of life,
A giver of life, provider of life. Mm-hmm.
as wisdom, as mind, as speech, as knowable, and
Gnostin, uh, not sure it's noble. Of course, it has this
oh, a
form.
knower, I guess.
Yes, from gnostis. That's what I suspect. Let's
Mhm.
see. Uh, one who knows, yes, the knower, yeah.
Okay. Um, as um, having beforehand all of the treasure houses of every knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
as power, as a lord, maybe, Dynasties,
Yes. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
as the king of kings, of rulers,
Yes.
as
Okay.
uh, the ancient of days,
Yeah. Ancient. Yeah. One single. Mm-hmm.
um, as is Agero ageless,
Yeah, I think. Mm-hmm.
um, and changeless, as
Yes.
savior, as justice, as holiness, as I've forgotten what apolutrusun means.
Uh,
Redemption.
Oh,
redemption.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
As redemption, as in magnitude, exceeding all things, and um, in aura, is that in a hall?
Whole? No, it's kind of it's an expression, well, from the from scriptures. It's wind. Well, translation I know it says wind or something. Breeze, breeze.
Oh, as in the light breeze.
Yes, and light breeze. Remember, that's theophany to whom? To Moses, I guess, right?
Ezekiel.
Oh, Ezekiel. Yes, yes, yes. That was famous place. Okay. I think we did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to, well, to the summer term. If not, thanks to you, you'll have to, if any other people enroll, you'll have a free access. I mean, online. Anyway, it was great to work together on this.
Yeah, it was
Bye.
interesting
Yeah,
to
same
read.
to
I
you.
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.